Just to give them time to move out.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Well, plus closings are getting faster and faster, right?
They
So
are.
as everything becomes electronic, right? Even our reports are now electronic. As everything moves that way,
Right.
data can be processed a lot faster. So where we were looking at 45 days before, it's down to like 18 or something crazy.
And we always tell people the faster the close, the better, because the faster the sellers get their money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you
absolutely.
offer that lease back so they don't feel the rush of having to move out of their house in 18 days, especially if they're trying to find a new home.
Right. And that could be, you talk about stress. That can be stress. Like,
It
oh my
is.
gosh.
Where am I going to live?
Yeah. We didn't expect our house to sell this fast. A. B. Now the closing's only taking 18 days. What are we going to do?
Right.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of that. And I know there's a lot of people, too, that don't look necessarily for a house until they sell theirs.
Right.
But then you also have the opposite, right? So you have people that sell their house on a contingency buy a house that on a contingency that they can sell theirs.
Correct. And that's very beneficial for people like we brought up earlier. When the faster you close, the sooner they can take the contingency off of the home they're buying. So it benefits them in that aspect.
How does that work? When you have a contingency on a home, if you're buying a home, if I'm working with you and I'm a buyer and I'm buying a home, and I've got a contingency on mine. Does that weaken your position, or how does that work?
As a seller buying, then becoming a buyer, it does, because then you're relying on somebody else.
Sure.
And so there's sometimes that a deal can blow up in 2 days before closing, and then that restricts you from buying your next home.
And so do you find sellers are, I guess in the market, the way it is today, are sellers likely to just say, you know what, I'm not interested in a contingency type contract, or no?
It really depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If you're in a multiple offer situation, obviously, if you have a contingency on your offer, it's not as strong, right?
Sure.
But if you have no other offers on your home and you have someone and you need to sell it, that's something you consider.
Elena, we've talked a lot about kind of deals that go south and some pitfalls and things. Maybe you could talk about how the process should work. Like, what's a perfect world look like?
A perfect world. It would go under contract. You don't have any repairs in your inspection. I mean, luckily you guys done a couple for us that you're like, inspections shouldn't be this easy. And you're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I in a dream right now?
Yeah.
A couple.
And then,
a couple.
right. And then,
Well, we've definitely seen extremes.
right. And then the appraisal comes back over value, which means instant equity for your buyers.
Right.
That's always fun. You do the instant equity
Sounds
dance.
good. That sounds good.
And then you just go straight to closing. Underwriting goes smoothly and you go to closing.
Okay.
Nice sellers.
Yeah. Nice sellers,
seller.
nice buyers, nice realtors. We're all happy.
And so that's kind of a perfect world. What's kind of in between, right? So we talked about all these things that can go wrong, install your option period or extend your option period, or, appraisals that can be bad, titles that can be delayed, all these things, right? And then the perfect world of, you know what, I'm walking in with $500,000 paying cash and we're just going to hand the keys over and life's
Right.
good, right?
Right.
So, but what's sort of typical? What is the average person? What should they expect?
They should expect something to come up on their inspection.
Yeah.
So you're not buying a brand new home. Even if you buy a new home, I highly recommend an inspection.
Yeah, we do too.
You want to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah.
But that's where you have you guys to educate people. So one thing people need to understand, there's a lot of emotions when it comes to buying a house. So that's why you rely on professionals you trust, because we take our emotion out of it.
Yeah.
And we help advise you the best way we can.
Definitely. So what, kind of unrelated, but what's your favorite part about being a realtor?
The people I get to meet.
Yeah.
I've met some awesome people throughout my career. Mhm.
Nice. So do you typically you have a team, right? So do you typically work with buyers or sellers?
I worked with a lot of buyers to start my career, and now I'm transitioning more to the seller side. But we have that agent on their team that works with our buyers.
Okay, so you have an agent just dedicated to buyers. And so what advantage does that give to both you and to buyers?
The attention we get to give to our clients, that matters.
So having that buyer's specialist, does that, I guess, go into more detail about what that does for folks?
Well, so she does it every day. So the more you practice, the better you are, right? And so she's able to, and I still work with buyers too, but we sit down and we have our consultations and we get people on game plan and we just know the process. So it's something that we're organized with every person that comes through our door.
Nice. We have spent a bit of time talking about sort of the buy side of this transaction. And you mentioned, hey, I work with sellers a lot, right? So put yourself on the other side And now let's look at things from the seller's perspective for just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I'm selling my house. I just got this contract in. I really think I'm going to sign it. What are some things the sellers need to be concerned about?
Right. Well, more than likely, they know what the age of their home is already.
Sure.
What things are probably going to come up on inspections.
Sure.
And that's where the realtor goes in and we coach them. Hey, these are probably going to be the items they're going to ask about. Always the roof, the foundation,
right,
the AC,
yeah,
plumbing,
water heater.
Yeah. Right, water heater, yes. But that's when we say, hey, but we have tools that we can help you with. We can offer people this home warranty. It covers this certain AC unit.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can educate the buyers as you're buying a used home 20 years old.
Right.
So it's something we try to help the sellers with.
I would say if you're the only house on the street too that hasn't got their roof replaced and you've watched everybody else, you may want to put in a claim
yes.
and get the insurance to cover it before you put the house up for sale, just so it's not something you have to do at the last second.
Yes.
That would be helpful. As far as the buyers go, what things can they do to make sure everything's in order with themselves before they go and look for an agent to buy a house? What are the common things that come up that they need to get fixed?
Right. Well, so that's why we offer free consultations. And the reason we do that is we want to help prepare people. There's always people think, I might want to buy in a year. Or recently we met with a couple that just wanted to rent their forever home, didn't think they could buy. Mm-hmm. Turned out they could buy. You guys did their inspection and they're very happy. Thank you. So that's why we do that, because then we can sit down and see what your situation is. Every buyer's different. Get you on a plan.
All right. Remember, you can always tweet at us at HouseFluent. You can use the hashtag MyHomeQuestion. We always try and get to those on the show. And you can find us on Facebook or at Instagram or at housefluent.com. All right. Well, it's time for Bill's favorite part of the show.
Smart home stuff.
This is the smart home update. Bill, I picked one out today specifically for you. You're going to love this.
I know.
So when Bill and I do team inspections, Bill, not always, but he typically gets to look at the electrical panel when we're doing the inspections together. And so, Bill, I thought I would just present you today with the smart home electrical panel and smart circuit breakers.
I'm out. I don't want to do it. The word smart throws me off.
So these things are great. They come with an app. They allow you to monitor your electrical usage per circuit or per device, right? So if it's a dedicated circuit, you'll know exactly how much, for example, your water heater's using. They give you historical data. You can look at things by day, by week, by month. You can see actually how much power your house is using. You can look at it, like I said, at the individual circuit level. Here's the cool thing.
That sounds so exciting.
No, here's the cool thing. You ready? You can turn your circuit breakers off with your app.
Okay. Why would I want to do that?
Well, let's say you're out of town and you get, the other thing it does is it alerts you, right? You're out of town. You get an alert that there's something weird going on with your electrical, or
That's not a vacation.
Or you're like me and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
This is not a vacation. Now everybody's got my garage doors opening and closing. There's someone at my door.
Yeah.
It's not a vacation.
Well, look at it this way. You could be sitting on the beach and realize, oh my gosh, I left my lights on. Look at all the power I'm using, and you can turn it off right there. Boom, done.
I text my neighbor, hey, can you go check my house? He does the same thing.
Unscrew the bulbs.
So it does give alerts, right? And it gives alerts if it detects arcing and things like that. You can also set it up so that your contractor gets those alerts as well. So as you can imagine, electrical contractors are going to be putting these in and automatically setting themselves up, or I would, right? And that way you're getting the alerts and helping your clients out a little better.
I just want you all to know Brian has the dumbest house on the planet. He has none of this stuff. He has none. His smoke alarm is probably, hey, do you smell something? Actually, do you have a working smoke alarm?
Knucklehead. Yes, I have multiple working smoke
I was just
alarms.
checking. It doesn't matter. You have 4 kids, so they're going to be lighting the fire anyway. So.
Yeah. So what do you think about the smart panel?
I think it's a great idea for someone that needs that much information in their life.
I think it's good.
Almost sounds like information overload, you know?
Yeah, that's my problem.
You can get in there and
it's like, I don't want to know.
And really, dial all the switches and,
I get that bill every month that tells me you're using a lot.
So here's what I like about it, right? So we could show up to an inspection at a house with a smart panel, right? And we can ask ahead of time for guest access, right? And we can pull up the numbers on it. And now, instead of just looking at looking at it visually, right? And we do some testing, right, on arc fault breakers and things, but primarily it's a visual inspection. Instead of looking at it just visually, now we've got data to back us up to know, hey, did we have any issues going on with any circuits? Oh, hey, look at that. The water heater was doing something weird about, a month ago. Maybe we look a little closer at the water heater to see what's going on there. I like it because it gives us more data. We can actually help our clients out a lot more.
Yeah, owning a pool it'd probably be helpful with a pool because everybody's always concerned about how much more their utilities are going to be when they have a pool, and seeing how much more things are running and pumps, and that would be. I mean, it'd be good for lots of things. I mean, usually you're going to try to figure this out when you get your bill and it went way up, and you're like, and it wasn't 105 degrees out. What's going on? But yeah, I can understand that.
Well, and you can begin to hold contractors' feet to the fire, right? So you have an air conditioning company that comes out and says, hey, you're going to save so many kilowatt hours.
18.
Well, hey, guess what? Now I can show you how many it's actually using, right? And so, there's a lot of benefits to it. And I think
you'll have an electrical contractor at the end of every street.
Oh, you will?
Just waiting.
Yeah.
Just sitting in front of his computer watching everybody's houses, letting them know, hey, you got a problem.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't work quite that way, but yeah.
No, but I mean, I could see it going to that in the future as
for
far
sure.
as monitoring everything, your water, your electrical.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's where we're headed. And I think companies like ours are going to look a little more like a security company. We'll come out and do the initial inspection, and then you'll start seeing monitoring.
Oh, we're not far from Alexa calling us on vacation. Hey, got a problem at home.
No,
you come home right now.
You'll get that text. Hey, did you flush twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go there.
All right, Bill, you ready to move on to some client questions?
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to some client and listener questions. So the first one says, my husband and I work full-time. We're thinking about hiring a contractor to do some remodeling. Neither of us know about construction or know enough about construction to know if they're doing the work correctly. Do you guys do inspections on homes being remodeled?
Well, if you see them using the hammer and they're using the claw part to hammer in nails, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So we do.
My first advice would be get a marriage counselor before you start this process.
Yeah.
True.
Because this is usually the end of most marriages.
So I'm going to add a little twist to this a little bit. So the answer is yes. We do inspections on homes that are being remodeled. And I've been in houses with the contractors before and tested, drains on new showers that leaked, and it's always kind of a tenuous exchange. But we do those inspections. Those are actually a great idea to have done, especially if you can get us out there before the contractors close up their work. If you can get us out there before they drywall in drains and things like that, that's always a good idea. But I want to add to that, since we have Elena here, we kind of have the benefit of her opinion as well. When you're considering remodeling, what are some of the things to consider that's, you're going to kind of get the value back out of your house?
Right. So that's when you want to come to a realtor and let us, if you should still have the one that you go to. But there's things that people do that they put too much money into their house and they don't get it back.
So they can come to you, even if they're not buying or selling their house, and say, hey, I'm going to do some remodeling from a real estate perspective.
What's the best return?
What's the best thing? Yeah.
And so we actually have a flyer we can provide you with that from one of our title companies that we value, that they give us that we can give to you, and it'll have the breakdown of what cost has the highest return.
Nice. That's great. What a great benefit for people. Mm-hmm. All right, next question, Bill. So you guys don't talk much about your termite inspections. What do they entail, and how often do you actually find them? So how often we actually find them?
Not too much.
Not as often.
Not as much as people probably would think,
as you would think. We find other wood destroying insects a lot more frequently actually than termites. But as far as what they entail,
snakes,
yes,
spiders.
They don't eat wood though.
Well,
no, they eat Brian though.
yeah, they do eat me. I was in a crawl space not too long ago, and that was not pleasant.
No, he came up pretty quick.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've moved
It was
that
just about
fast in a
8 foot
long
copperhead,
time.
so.
Yeah.